prophecy is an enormous topic and fills a great deal of the Bible itself. From cover to cover, you will find prophecies concerning births, deaths, and destructions. It's the topic of Bob Dutko's fourth proof that the Bible is true, the fulfilled prophecy, which is evidence the Bible genuinely predicted future events. But because the topic is so broad, Dutko in this proof focuses only on those prophecies he claims were made about and fulfilled in the person, ministry, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
The number 4 proof that the Bible is true is fulfilled prophecy. You know, it's amazing when you look at the amount of prophecy that's been fulfilled throughout Scripture, Old Testament, New Testament, and probably the biggest and greatest example of fulfilled prophecy is Jesus Christ himself. If you actually look at the over 100 specific prophecies made about the coming Messiah, and then you realize that Jesus fulfilled every single one of them, the odds mathematically of something like that just happening are astronomical.
Now, like the supposed scientific proofs for the Bible's truth, Dutko spends no time discussing the passages he uses in their proper contexts, but only rattles them off and expects listeners to merely believe what he's telling them, that these passages are examples of fulfilled prophecy. So the short answer to all of Dutko's claims is that these so-called prophecies are no such thing, and until and unless apologists like Dutko prove them to be prophetic and objectively fulfilled by a historical Jesus, they remain baseless assertions. The gospel author's technique of using the Hebrew scriptures to flesh out their narratives, especially as it concerned culling the ancient writings for so-called prophecies to legitimize their positions, was not a new invention by them. The isolated Jewish sect from Qumran, made famous by the discovery of their texts in the 1940s known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, also participated in this sort of reinterpretation of prophetic texts from the Hebrew Bible in light of current circumstances. The Habakkuk commentary, one of the texts recovered from the caves at Qumran where they had been hidden in clay jars, buried in caves near the Dead Sea, applied the first 2 chapters of the biblical book of Habakkuk, verse by verse, to their own teacher of righteousness, a messianic-like figure who some scholars believe founded the Qumran sect, and events surrounding him. For the community, the Hebrew Bible's book of Habakkuk the prophet concerned their own time. Habakkuk was likely written in the 7th century BCE, as it references the Chaldeans. The Chaldean rise to power is dated to around 612 BCE. In the Dead Sea Scroll commentary on Habakkuk, the Chaldeans are interpreted to have been the Romans who invaded the area in the 1st century BCE, concurrent with the time the commentary was likely written. But in no sense was Habakkuk written with the Qumran sect in mind. The connection is merely a form of interpretation to suit a community's needs. Thus, this pattern of reinterpreting scriptures to signify a new meaning, especially through apocalyptic or end-time expectations, had already been established by the time the authors of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John decided to pen their own versions of the Jesus story. This, of course, is a fact of New Testament literature that apologists like Dutko are either ignorant of or deliberately ignore when they pull together these lists of so-called fulfilled prophecy. The long answer, when it comes to dealing with Dutko's claims of fulfilled prophecy, of course, is to take each of Dutko's assertions in turn, as was done with his laundry list of so-called scientific passages from the Bible, and do a proper examination of them. But while Dutko can stream his claims in just under 14 minutes, a proper examination of his assertions will take considerably more time. And yet, the treatment of these passages certainly requires more than what this medium is able to afford, and the viewer is strongly encouraged to do more in-depth research if the topic is of interest. However, seeing as how these fulfillments came from the meat grinder of Christian radio talk show apologetics, the biblical verses in question will still get more attention here in the coming episodes than they did from the grinding apologist. Funding for this program was provided in part by the generous contributions of viewers like you via Patreon. Consider joining them at www.patreon.com/Bible Skeptic. Thank you.